So good morning. We shall start quiz examination soon, and you shall have 10 questions, and all questions are from the lectures of alkaloids, and all questions are MCQ type question. For example, if you are asked answer of a question, for example, question 4, there will be 4 answers, possible answers A, B, C, D. So you have to only write the correct answer. For example, 4C, if C is correct, then 4C. 4C, then I shall understand and can mark your, or evaluate your results. So please open my Facebook, and in the messenger box you send, because messenger I shall get the your message immediately, as well as I shall get saved all the messages. Are you ready?
Sir, Assalamualaikum,
Yes,
sir.
ওয়ালাইকুম
স্যার আমরা তো স্যার আপনার সাথে মেসেঞ্জারে কানেক্টেড নেই।
মেসেঞ্জারে কানেক্টেড থাকার তো দরকার নেই, ফেসবুকে গিয়া যে কোনো মানুষকে তো মেসেজ করা যায়।
Sir,
Yes.
sir, will we send all the answers together or one by one?
What you need to do, just together, because you when I show the first question, you write 1 A, B or C, then put comma or semicolon, and then second question answer, third question answer, and when you get all the answers, when you answer all the questions, then you push the send button. So immediately I shall get your answers.
So what about the time?
Time, I shall read out each question, and you can also see in the screen. Time is when I will end the, I will say the stop, then it would be stop, because you cannot see anything in the screen. So around 30 seconds to 40 seconds time you will get for a quiz exam, and it is very easy. Do not take 30 seconds or more. Any question? If no question, then I shall go for the presentation. Let me get the presentation. So we I can see 24 participants today. This is very good. So we are starting our exam soon. Yes, this is your first question. What element must present in the structure of an alkaloid? A, magnesium, B, potassium, and C should be phosphorus, and D, nitrogen. So what element must present in the structure of an alkaloid? A, magnesium, B, potassium, C, phosphorus, and D, nitrogen. Here phosphorus is written B, it should be C. So you just write one A or one B or one C, one D. What element must present in the structure of an alkaloid? A, magnesium, B, potassium, C, phosphorus, and D, nitrogen. Next question. What plant produces two famous anti-cancer drugs, vincristine and vinblastine? A, Rosa rugosa, B, Oryza
Sir, we
rupipo.
cannot. Sir, we cannot see the question in the screen.
Why?
The 2-number question, 1-number question, but 2-number question we can't see.
Sir,
You must
I can see, sir.
see Oryza rupipogon, C. Catharanthus roseus, C. Catharanthus roseus, not B, and D. Allium cepa. Yes, there is a slight mistake. So A. Rosa rugosa, B. Oryza rupipogon, C. Catharanthus roseus, D. Allium cepa. Which plant produces two famous anti-cancer drugs, vincristine and vinblastine? A. Rosa rugosa, B. Oryza rupipogon, C. Catharanthus roseus, D. Allium cepa. Next, what is the general taste of alkaloid? A. Sweet, B. Bitter, C. Sour. Here is also mistake. So C. Sour, D. Minty. So what is the general taste of alkaloid? A. Sweet, B. Bitter, C. Sour, D. Minty. So according to cereal, you can consider A. Sweet, B. Bitter, C. Sour, and D. Minty. What is the general taste of alkaloid? A. Sweet, B. Bitter, C. Sour, D. Minty. Number 4. Which individual alkaloid was first isolated from a plant source? A. Morphine, B. Atropine, again there is a mistake, C. Vincristine, and D. Nicotine. So which individual alkaloid was first isolated from a plant source? A. Morphine, B. Atropine, C. Vincristine, D. Nicotine. A. Morphine, B. Atropine, C. Vincristine, and D. Nicotine. Number 5. Which one is a pseudo-alkaloid? A. Conine, B. Adrenaline, caffeine should be C, C. Caffeine, and D. Cocaine. A. Conine, B. Adrenaline, C. Caffeine, and D. Cocaine. Which one is a pseudo-alkaloid? A. Conine, B. Adrenaline, C. Caffeine, D. Cocaine. Number 6. Which alkaloid was used by the Egyptian queen Cleopatra to dilate her pupils? A. Scopolamine, B. Atropine, again this B should be C. Hyoscyamine, C. Hyoscyamine, D. Cocaine. Which alkaloid was used by the Egyptian queen Cleopatra to dilate her pupils? A. Scopolamine, B. Atropine, C. Hyoscyamine, D. Cocaine. Next, what is the biosynthetic origins of nicotine? A. Aspartate and ornithine, B. Aspartate and glutamate, C. Glutamate and ornithine. Glutamate and ornithine should be C, and D. Putrescine and aspartate. So here second B should always should be C. What is the biosynthetic origin of nicotine? Aspartate and ornithine, A. B. Aspartate and glutamate, C. Glutamate and ornithine, and D. Putrescine and aspartate. Next, 8. Question 8. Which alkaloid poisoning was used to kill the great philosopher Socrates? A. Vincristine, B. Cocaine, and second B should be C. morphine, D. hemlock. Which alkaloid poisoning was used to kill the great philosopher Socrates? A. Vincristine, B. cocaine, C. morphine, and second B should be C. cocaine, D. terpenoalkaloids. Question 9. Which toxic alkaloid present in sunburned potato? A. phosphoalkaloids, B. glycoalkaloids, C. cocaine, and D. terpenoalkaloid. I repeat again. Question 9. Which toxic alkaloids present in sunburned potato? A. phosphoalkaloids, B. glycoalkaloids, C. cocaine, and D. terpenoalkaloid. Last question. Which alkaloids can inhibit the assembly of microtubules and thereby acts as an anti-cancer drug? Question is, which alkaloid, not alkaloids, which alkaloid can inhibit the assembly of microtubules and thereby act as an anti-cancer drug? A. vincristine, B. vinblastine, C. putrescine. Here, second B should be C. Putrescine, and D. conine. Again, question 10. Which alkaloids can inhibit the assembly of microtubules and thereby acts as an anti-cancer drug? A. vincristine, B. vinblastine, C. putrescine, and D. conine. So your time is over. So I am expecting your answer now.
And we already sent.
Okay.
Sir, Rahat sir.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
sir.
Yes. Any question?
It's the first.
Any question from your side?
দেখা শেয়ার করে দিছে একজন এই দেখা শেয়ার করে দিছে কে জানো
Do you have any question regarding your exam?
messenger. Sir, already messenger send করে দিছে sir.
Very good. Do anyone faced any
আমি
problem?
সেন্ড করেছি স্যার আমি সেন্ড করেছি স্যার ইয়েতে স্যার মেসেঞ্জারে কিন্তু আমি স্যার প্রাইভেটলি মেসেজ সেন্ড করতে পারিনি স্যার
No, no. If you send me Facebook Messenger, then it is fine because it should be private.
ও স্যার আমি তো জুমে পাঠালাম
স্যার আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
Walaikum salam.
স্যার আমি এক্সাম শুরু হয়ে গেছে, আমি চ্যাটে প্রাইভেটলি সেন্ড করছি, জুম চ্যাটে প্রাইভেটলি সেন্ড করছি।
Please send me Facebook Messenger, just copy and paste. Please do copy and paste to my
I have a question, sir.
in the Facebook Messenger now. I am checking.
আমরা তো রেজিস্ট্রেশন নাম্বার লিখি নাই স্যার, এটা কি লিখতে হবে?
It is better to write, but most of the students' name is appeared.
Okay,
If you
sir.
write your name or registration number would be good. Please
Okay,
send
sir.
me again through my Facebook Messenger.
Sir, Muaz here. Sir, Muaz.
Yes.
Sir, I'm very unfortunate to connect today. I connect at the last question, and I didn't get any answer, sir. So I am very unfortunate, sir, today.
Anyway, those who have already answered, please send me. I received from many.
স্যার আমি সেন্ড করেছি স্যার মেসেঞ্জারে স্যার।
Yes, those who send me, I already received. So those who send me through the Zoom message, please send it again through the Facebook Messenger, and I can see all of your answer. Who faced problem except Muaz, or anyone faced problem in seeing the question?
No, sir, no problem.
No sir, I didn't face.
So all secondary metabolites are originated from the primary metabolites, and this pathway showing us different kinds of secondary metabolites. You see purple color, they are originated from the primary metabolite. For example, glucose is a primary metabolite. Erythrose 4-phosphate also a primary metabolite. Phosphoenol pyruvate is a primary metabolite because they participate in different different metabolic pathway to generate the energy. For example, glucose through glycolysis produce phosphoenol pyruvate, and then phosphoenol pyruvate converts into pyruvate, and pyruvate then participates into TCA cycle, tricarboxylic acid cycle, to generate the energy. And obviously you studied a lot in biochemistry as well as crop botany, plant physiology, how it takes place. Biochemistry, all fisheries and agriculture students, they know it very well. So these are the primary metabolic pathway, but there are some secondary metabolic pathway. For example, from mevalonic acid, acetyl-CoA is the starting point of TCA cycle. Acetyl-CoA can be converted to mevalonic acid, melonyl-CoA, and then coenzyme A. Then they participate into other biosynthetic pathway of secondary metabolites. For example, isoprenoids. Isoprenoids, a very large group of secondary metabolites, or complex isoprenoids, complex alkaloids. Alkaloids are mostly, they are derived from amino acids, maybe aliphatic amino acids or aromatic amino acids. And alkaloids, complex alkaloids, and phenylpropanoids. Phenylpropanoids, some of them are derived from aromatic amino acids, some of them from hydroxybenzoic acids. So phenylpropanoids, from phenylpropanoids, flavonoids are produced, and from flavonoids, complex flavonoids like polyflavonoids are produced. So this is the simplified pathways of secondary metabolites from the primary metabolites. And it is not only for plant. This biosynthetic pathway is a simplified and overview of biosynthetic pathway of various kinds of secondary metabolites. You must remember that only secondary metabolites are not the bioactive natural products. Bioactive natural products are vast. Secondary metabolites are one of the important groups of bioactive natural products. But there are lots of other bioactive natural products. For example, an enzyme is a bioactive natural product if it acts in some other cell, or if it has any biological activity in the cellular system. So we shall discuss other bioactive natural products also, but remember that secondary metabolites occupy a large proportion of the bioactive natural products. And bioactive natural products, how from the primary metabolite and to secondary metabolites, how they are structurally related. Here you can see essential amino acid, for example, proline is very close structure to pipecolic acid, which is an alkaloid. Similarly, caurenoic acid is a primary metabolite, which is structurally similar to abiotic acid. So structurally, there are some similarities between bioactive natural, the secondary metabolites as well as the primary metabolites. So main groups of secondary metabolites in plants as well as in other organisms, the number one powerful group is terpenes. Terpenoids, they are also called terpenoids. They are derived from C5 precursor isopentenyl diphosphate, IPP. IPP is a primary metabolite and present in the metabolic pathway of different organisms, including plants. So 29,000, this is a bit older data, currently maybe 32 or 32 producing terpenoids. Terpenoids can be found in marine organisms, for marine invertebrates like sea urchin or sea cucumber and many other marine organisms. So terpenoid compounds, they are one of the largest, mostly the largest groups of secondary metabolite. And we already discussed the alkaloids, which are mostly derived from the amino acids, around 12,000, but now maybe 15,000 or like that. And the other groups, that means terpenes, alkaloids, and other groups, phenolics. Phenolics, another classical group of secondary metabolites, biosynthesized through shikimate pathway, shikimic acid. Shikimic acid is a primary metabolite, and it is also produced from malonate or acetate pathway. Around 8,000, maybe now 10,000 phenolic compounds are being discovered by human. So terpenes, alkaloids, and phenolics. If you are asked what are the major groups of secondary metabolites, you should mention terpenoids, alkaloids, and phenolics. So these are the major group of secondary metabolites. If you are asked from which compounds terpenoids are derived from, you should say C5 precursor of isopentenyl diphosphate terpenoids are derived from. And similarly, alkaloids mainly derived from the amino acids, and phenolics mainly derived from or biosynthesized through the shikimate pathway or malonate or acetate pathway. So these are one class, and another class of secondary metabolites are nitrogen containing. Some secondary metabolites contain nitrogen, some do not contain nitrogen. Nitrogen containing secondary metabolites, this is another a group of or another kinds of classification. Nitrogen containing secondary metabolites, alkaloids, non-protein amino acids, amines, cyanogenic glycosides, and glucosinolates. So these are other nitrogen containing secondary metabolites. So you must remember that not only alkaloids, there are some other secondary metabolites which contain the nitrogen. So alkaloids obviously contain nitrogen, but there are some other secondary metabolites like non-protein amino acids, amines, cyanogenic glycosides, and glucosinolates. They also contain nitrogen. What are non-nitrogenous or without nitrogen? Terpenoids never contain almost most of the cases do not contain nitrogen. Terpenoids are basically free from uh, nitrogen atom. But there are some terpeno alkaloids, they are different. Phenolic compounds, they are also free from the nitrogen. So terpenoids can be classified into monoterpenoids, sesquiterpenoids, diterpenoids, triterpenoids, or tetraterpenoids, or polyterpenoids, like that. So when we discuss terpenoids in detail, we shall discuss the classification in more details. Phenolic compounds can be classified into flavonoids, polyacetylens, polyketides, and phenylpropanoids. So these are the major groups of flavonoids. And the question is, secondary metabolites in case of plants, where they compartmentalized, where the secondary metabolites, most of them are toxic, but how plant or cell compartmentalize them, that means preserve them in the cellular system, which place in, that means which organelle in the cell deposit or preserve the which kind of secondary metabolites. Mostly in the cytosol, hydrophilic compounds, they are stored in the cytosol. Alkaloids, they are terpenoids, especially monoterpenes. Alkaloids, mostly caffeine, they are preserved or stored in chloroplast. In the chloroplast, in plant cell, a very famous cell organelle, which contains chlorophyll and involved in the photosynthetic pathway, very important organelle. And some amines and alkaloids are also stored in mitochondria, and some alkaloids are also stored in vesicles. That means alkaloids are stored in chloroplast, mitochondria, vesicles. And endoplasmic reticulum also store hydroxylation step, lipophilic compounds, and some other compounds. So these are the secondary metabolites, compartmentalization. Now, secondary metabolite sequestration. In our last class, we discussed about what is sequestration. Water-soluble compounds are usually stored in vacuole. In the sequestration by other organism as well as the producer. I am now talking about the producer. Water-soluble compounds mostly stored in vacuole, and lipophilic substances are sequestered in resin ducts, lacitifers, glandular hairs, trichomes, in the cuticle or on the cuticle. Lipophilic substances. There are resin ducts. Some plants, if you cut, you can see milky substance are coming out. Some are lacitifers, for example, rubber plant. Glandular hairs, many plants contain hairy structure, for example, mint plant. So they also store the compound. So secondary metabolite sequestration, here you can see in plant, a large vacuole, there are water-soluble compounds are sequestered. No strict rule, but there are some principles where the secondary metabolites are stored. And anthocyanins, blue-red flavonoid pigments, you can see in the flower petals, they are stabilized in the vacuole, oxidized in cytosol. The sequestration is a detoxification process. This is very important point. Sequestration, you may be asked, what is the sequestration? Sequestration basically a detoxification process. That means the compound is detoxified and stored. For example, I discussed yesterday, butterflies and some insects sequester compound from the herb, and they store in the wing For them, those compounds are not toxic. But when birds and other predators are ingested them, in case of plants, when herbivores are attacked, then these compounds through saliva or some other enzyme activity, they become toxic. So anthocyanin, I'm not going detail this slide because this is a bit advanced type of biotechnology we shall discuss later on. Anthocyanin, how people prepared the mutant of anthocyanin biosynthesis and prove that how they are sequestered. So this is very interesting slide. Secondary metabolite sequestration. You see this ball-like structure in this figure, mint glandular trichomes. Glandular trichomes, a ball-like structure outside the leaf here, hairy structure. This is, scanning electron microscope on the thyme glandular trichomes. They are, filled or, they are full of, terpenoidal compounds and very fine structure, and when easy to rupture. So when any herbivore attack the plant, they burst. Even when we touch the mint leaf, you can find the strong aroma of menthol and other compounds. These are the, like bomb blast and a defense organism. And in lemon leaf, if you rupture, you can find strong aroma, limonene and other compounds, because their leaves contain secretory cavity full of, the terpenoidal compound. Pine resin also full of, resin duct. So if you cut the stem, you can find the milky substances, resinous substances are coming out. So plants use those substances, organs, special organs, to store the compound as a defense, compound. And all these compounds, most of the compounds, they are being used pharmaceutically and industrially. For example, this is a rubber plant. Rubber plant, if you visit the Cox's Bazar Ramu area, you can find this rubber plant. The resin laticifers are coming from the rubber plant. If you cut the cuticle bark of the plant, they are coming like this, and these milky substances, when they are processed, they become the rubber, and they are basically latex, and composition typically is water, terpenes, sugars, and enzymes. So rubber latex contain water, terpenes, sugars, and enzymes. You may be asked in your question, what is the chemical composition of the latex of rubber plant? The answer should be water, terpenes, sugars, and enzymes. So this is the an experimental evidence that secondary metabolites, they are biosynthesized in specific organ, but they can transport to other organ. For example, leaf in Arabidopsis thaliana synthesize certain compound, but when scientists analyze the compounds, they found in flower, siliqua, stem, colline leaf, rosette leaf, root. That means through xylem and phloem, long distance transport of compounds can be possible in the plant system. Here it is shown, these images shown the long distance phloem transport of glucosinolates, because glucosinolates, they are biosynthesized in the leaves. Compounds, those biosynthesized in the leaves, as leaves has the phloem transport cells, transport or vascular bundles. So phloem transport the compounds, those are biosynthesized in the leaves to the other plants, to the root. And xylem also used to transport long distance from root to the other parts, because xylem, involved in transport of water and other nutrient element from root to the other parts of the plant. And phloem is involved in transport of the sugar and other nutrients from leaf to the other parts of the plant. So long distance transport of the compounds can be possible. Even in the other organisms, from one body parts to other parts, the secondary metabolites or bioactive natural products can be possible. So long distance transport of glucosinolates. Glucosinolates, what are glucosinolates? Glucosinolates are one kind of secondary metabolites produced by the brassica. That means shorisha jatiyo plant, cabbage, cauliflower, or mustard. They produce glucosinolates. Pungency taste of this or smell, strong pungency smell of these compounds. So glucosinolates, they are complex substances, and they are transported from leaves to the other parts. Selection of specific glucosinolates, that is insect repelling as well as in toxic compounds for the insects, because glucosinolates, when plants are exposed to the attack by the herbivores, then glucosinolates, they become in contact with myrosinase enzyme, and myrosinase enzyme break down the glucosinolates and produce lots of toxic compounds, even hydrogen cyanide, poisonous substance, sulfur gas, and others. And herbivore exposed to those compounds, as a result, herbivores stop eating those plants and export to sink tissues, seeds and flowers. Seeds and flowers are called sink tissues because they deposit different, carbohydrate and, energy produces in the leaves. They are deposited in the seeds and flowers. This is why they are called the sink tissues. Source tissues, another term is source tissues, are mainly leaf tissues. So these are the interesting point. Cost of secondary metabolites often needed high concentration. It is expensive. Biosynthesis of the secondary metabolites is an expensive process, and transport and storage also needs energy, and formation of specialized storage compartment like trichome synthesis, also structure formation requires energy. Synthesis of mRNA and proteins are also requires energy. So secondary metabolites biosynthesis requires ATP or NADPH consumption. So any organism, when biosynthesize any bioactive compounds, it requires energy, and it is a costly process for the organism. This is why organism produce or synthesize the amount as they or it requires. In our case, when we want to produce something or extract from any source in an industrial scale, we need very high concentration. But high concentration usually too much high concentration do not produce by the organisms, because organisms produce as much as they need, but we need a huge amount for medicine or cosmetics and other purposes. This is why we need not natural source. Sometimes we need bioreactor or cell culture, or we need to biosynthesize the secondary metabolites, or we need to synthesize them in the chemistry laboratory and make huge amount of secondary bioactive compounds for our commercial use. So this is all for today's lecture. We shall discuss more in detail in our next lecture. So you can ask a question on today's lecture. You are welcome to ask question. Now I can see 27 students are attending. It's amazing, almost 100%. This is fine. So who are the new, attendee today for the first time? So unmute your microphone and tell me, because I am recording your attendance also. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. I think I can hear you.
Okay, very good. So who are attending for the first time online lecture? It's okay. I can tell you. Do you have any question regarding bioactive natural products, secondary metabolites, the lecture that I delivered today? Anyone? No? Can I ask you a question? Can anyone tell me what are the industrial uses of the terpenoidal compound?
Perfume industry.
What a kind of industry?
Sir, rubber.
Rubber industry, yes, very good. Rubber industry, they use the polyterpenoidal compound from the latex of rubber plant. Any other?
Pharmaceuticals.
Medicine.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Medicine.
some of the terpenoidal compounds are very good medicine. Yes, thank you. Any other?
Perfume industry.
Huh?
Perfume industry.
Yes. Terpenoidal compounds, a large number of terpenoidal compounds are volatile compounds, and they have been used in the perfume industry. And perfume industry is the billion-dollar industry worldwide, and terpenoidal compounds, most all the aroma or aromatic substances or flavor substances we find in different organisms, including the plants. For example, flower aroma or scent is basically terpenoidal compounds. So perfume industry are a big industry which is established based on the discoveries of terpenoidal compounds. Can you tell me what are what industries which is originated from the alkaloidal compounds?
So, so cough, tushka,
Which?
cough syrup.
Cough syrup, yes, cough syrup. But you can tell me the anti-cancer drug like vincristine, vinblastine, camptothecin, or Taxol. They are originally discovered from the natural sources and now commercially used as anti-cancer drug. And are there any other industry has been developed based on the alkaloids?
Tobacco.
Yes, tobacco, for example, narcotics industry. Yes, tobacco company, different tobacco company, they are using the leaves of tobacco plants. Yes, any other?
So food and beverage.
Yes, a different type of beverage, and also different, drugs, for example, cocaine, morphine. These are, very powerful industry. In some countries, they are illegal. Cannabis, they are based on the alkaloids, and obviously lots of medicines are established or originated from the natural sources, basically the alkaloids. If I ask you which industries are established based on the phenolic compounds, can you name a very powerful industry worldwide which has been established based on the phenolic compounds?
No, sir.
No answer?
I don't know, sir.
Phenolic compounds. For example, tea industry. Tea industry, is tea, green tea or black tea. They are basically contains lots of phenolic compounds, and this is why tea industry, drinking tea, we get lots of phenolic substances. Phenolic substances are, antioxidant. And another big industry, largest industry is wine industry. Wine industry is based on the phenolic substances from the grapevine fruits. So wine industry is mostly established based on the phenolic compounds present in grapevine fruit. So do anyone have any other question? If I ask you, what are the major sources of bioactive natural products? If I ask you to list the major sources of bioactive natural products, can you tell me some names of organisms?
Plants, animals.
Plants, animals. Animals, can you name an animal? Because human does not produce, humans do not produce any secondary metabolites. Human has the strong immune system. Most of the animal, they do not produce how to say, secondary metabolites or famous industrially used bioactive natural products. But some of them, for example, snake, frog, or sea cucumber, sea urchin, they produce. How about the microorganism?
Streptomyces.
Yes, microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, they produce lots of secondary metabolites. For example, fungus Penicillium notatum produces penicillin, very famous and world first discovered antibiotic was the penicillium, and penicillin discovered from the Penicillium notatum. So Penicillium fungus produces penicillin and many other secondary metabolites. So who discovered the penicillin from Penicillium notatum?
Alexander Fleming, sir.
Yes, Sir Alexander Fleming, who was a researcher at the Imperial College. So Sir Alexander Fleming discovered the first antibiotic, and antibiotics are essential for our life because without antibiotic, we cannot survive. So life-saving drugs are antibiotics. Although nowadays, due to overdose, as well as irrational use of antibiotics, antibiotic resistance is a big problem. We shall discuss in later lecture. Antibiotic resistance is a very, very big problem. But without antibiotic, we cannot extend our life because a surgery cannot be done without the antibiotic. Even to get rid from the infection of microorganism, we use the antibiotics. So antibiotics are mostly discovered from different microorganisms. Any other question from your side? many secondary metabolites are toxic, but the producer who is producing, their cell can have the mechanism to store, sequester them in a special, organelle to save their own DNA and other cellular organelles saved from that compound. This is called sequestration. For example, you have seen in the mint leaf, special organ outside the leaf, hairy structure, ball-like structure called trichomes. They deposit in the trichomes in a encased form so that it cannot harm the other cellular organelles. Even in the mitochondria or endoplasmic reticulum, they are basically in membranous structure deposited in a way so that it does not harm their own organelle. Yes, this is a special mechanism. Naturally, the producer has the sequestration mechanism to preserve the compound in a way so that it cannot harm to their own cell organelle or the DNA or the membrane of the cell or like that. Very good question. Any other?
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, Nadia.
Sir, we know that secondary metabolites work for our defense of plant. But in case of human, in our body, antibody is produced against antigen. So why we can't tell them secondary metabolites?
Antibodies are, basically protein. Antibodies are protein. Proteins are the primary metabolite, proteins, antibody, in the body, there is a recycling system. So antibody, some of the antibodies are recycled and used for the energy purposes as well as structural purposes. So proteins, carbohydrates, amino acids, glucose, fructose, lipids, fatty acids, they are all primary metabolites because they are involved in growth and development of the organisms. So antibodies, they are basically protein. This is why we cannot, generally they are not considered as secondary metabolites.
Sir, I have a question, sir. Muad.
Yes.
Sir, we know plants can produce different type of secondary metabolites, but specific secondary metabolites or specific chemical produced by a specific plant. So what is the factors the plants can decide to produce a specific this type of particular
this is an interesting question.
secondary metabolites?
Through evolutionary process, plant faces different kind of enemies like insects, enemies like animals, enemies like microorganisms. So to defend themselves from the attack of particular enemy, plant originally biosynthesize a particular toxin, which we call secondary metabolites. All secondary metabolites originally plants biosynthesize as toxin, but over the years of evolutionary process, some of the herbivores which depend on the plant, they adopted the mechanism to detoxify them, as well as the adopted mechanism to tolerate the toxicity of the secondary metabolites. Then plants produce another toxin or like that. It is a evolutionary arm race. So all secondary metabolites are not toxic for all organisms because it depends on the organism's tolerance and adaptation or evolutionary, in the race. Some of the organism tolerated. For example, bitter gourd, corolla is bitter. Bitter principle, corolla biosynthesized cucurbitacin-like substances. Do you know why? To stop eating by the human and other animals. But in our case, we love now the bitter taste. So we can tolerate certain amount of this toxin, and it is no problem for us. And it is a physiological process, evolutionary process, different enzymes are involved there. And plant actually decide depending on the pressure of the herbivore, and then produce a toxin. And plant never stops the procedure of producing the toxin. As herbivores, the evolutionary process, they develop their own mechanism to tolerate the toxin. This is why all plants are not eaten by all herbivores. There are the particular choice. In our case, we only takes 12, 13, or 15 or 50 plants as our food crops. But there are 250,000 plant species in this world. Others are toxic for us. We never approached those plants to eat. But over the years of this arm race, and the herbivore develops the tolerance mechanism, and plants also produce new toxin. And this is why the diversity, taxonomic diversity, has been developed in different plants, because a jute insect never attack the rice because it is happy with the jute. As a result, rice does not need to produce compound, a specific compound for the other insects, never cares because of this type of food choice. So it is a very complex process, and in plant kingdom common in case of other families of the plants. Any other question? No? No question. If no question, then I shall, stop today's lecture. And have you decided when is the best time for you to receive the lectures? Okay, you can let me know through the, your Facebook group, and I hope we can see meet you again through this online lecture on Wednesday. Thank you very much. So Wednesday, 10:20, 20 minutes past 10 a.m. We shall meet again. And thank you very much for your cooperation.